in the kitchen, washing plates. Cleaning makes her happy. She's fine. Who said that? Who's Mark? Don't worry about Mark. Forget about him. I drove all over the city to find these baseball cards for him. When he opened them up, he looked confused. You never gave him baseball cards before? They put a stick of bubble gum in the disc. ASL is pure communication. It's visual. It's alive. You can't type it on a keyboard. It needs two living, breathing human beings facing each other, interacting. Sign language would evaporate in cyberspace. It's not the same thing. I don't want my grandson to grow up and look back on his childhood and realize that his best friend was a monitor. What's your favorite baseball team? Good. See? All Dodgers. Do you know there was once an outfielder for the Cincinnati Reds who threw out 3 runners at home plate in one game, setting a new record. He stole so many bases, he's on the top 20 list of all time. And you know what else special about him? He was deaf. He only had one problem. He couldn't hear the umpire call out balls or strikes. So they started using hand signals, sign language, to show the count. Is he hearing or deaf? If you're born deaf, you have deeper understanding of what deaf pride is. And that's what I taught my daughter. It was about a year ago, around Adam's birthday, when Laura first told me what Dan wanted to do. Barbaric. It made me think back to the days when hospitals would slice out the bottom of the tongues of deaf people to loosen their tongues. No, I don't think Dan's a bad man. He's a hearing man. He thinks I'm prejudiced. I'm not. But, like most hearing people, he thought deaf people would rather be hearing than deaf. Most hearing people think this way, or think that. The majority assumes that each minority wants to be like them. But as my wife says, God made us all different for a reason. When did that start? You don't see what Dan's doing. First, the implant. Now he's teaching our grandson to speak again. Ask her. You're not even considering it, are you? I have had enough. You're a grown woman. You make your own choices. When you got married so young, I said nothing. Your marriage is your life, not mine. But now you have a son, a deaf son. You are deaf first. Adam is not just your life. He's also my grandson. And we can't just sit and do nothing while your husband pushes an implant into the skull of our grandchild and teaches him to speak behind your back. Dan thinks that we're handicapped, disabled. Don't you talk to me like that. No. I walked into your mother's hospital room on the day you were born, and I met my little girl for the first time. I walked to the bed, stood behind you, and clapped. You jumped. I knew. She immediately started praying for us. Your mother can be a very persuasive woman. Doctors told us that you be totally deaf by 4 or 5. Until then, you'd be severely hard of hearing. Without hearing aids, you'd hear very little. Pride. Each deaf generation must hold on to our history, our language, our culture. these implants, where will technology lead? No more death? Wipe us out? Erase us? No. Like a computer? Delete us all as people? These implants are genocide. They systematic annihilation of people, a cultural group. Let whatever God does be.